Are you, or were you, worried about an unplanned pregnancy? Much can occupy your mind at this time of your life. There is something more painful than giving birth to a child, and that's not giving birth. Women who have aborted now have a new hope. For help in healing on post-abortion issues or for more information, contact the Office of Pro-Life Apostolate at the Catholic Diocese of Lafayette. Call 337-261-5607.
This is life, living below the poverty line. Please, don't let one more fall. Go to povertyusa.org and get involved.
Lord, make me a means of your peace.
Welcome to Catholics Today. Joining me today is Father Bryce Sibley to talk about the Catholic Student Center at Our Lady of Wisdom. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, it's great to be here, Trista.
So you have a lot of things, exciting things to talk to us about today.
Hopefully so.
Well, let's start with how are the sacraments used to help students encounter Christ at Our Lady of Wisdom?
Well, we have a very lively sacramental ministry, daily Mass at noon. We get a lot of students show up for that. The weekend Mass is particularly two Masses, 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. On Sundays. A lot of students come to confessions throughout the week. The kids love to go to confessions, an hour every day. On Sundays, there are 2 hours of confessions. We always are having students coming through confirmation classes. We have a number of people every year getting baptized and brought into the church. So really the sacraments are crucial to our ministry as Catholics as compared, let's say, to some other ministries that maybe are not as sacramentally based. But what we really see is that devotion to the Eucharist that is so important to students. They really understand and believe that Christ is present there in the Blessed Sacrament.
Then y'all have RCIA, marriage prep.
Oh yeah, we have a very active marriage prep program too. Because you might imagine a lot of times students come to the Catholic Student Center, they meet each other, they fall in love, and they start dating and they want to get married. In fact, this year I think I'm doing about 15 or 16 weddings for students who've gotten married, or are engaged and are getting married over the course of the year. And so we have a very intensive sort of marriage prep program. We have parishioners, because Wisdom has about 400 families involved too, who work to prepare the students along with our marriage prep team so that they can be ready to go out and live that sacrament.
Well, is there a high percentage of students that actually are part of the student center that are getting married?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you'll get students who come to Wisdom to get married because, well, we went to UL. But most of it are students that I know, which makes it really, really easy.
Yeah.
Like I just did a wedding earlier, last month in fact, for a couple that met at Wisdom. I've known their whole entire time there. And being able to celebrate that wedding, it was in New Orleans, but to be able to sort of poke fun at the groom, I could have done more poking fun at the groom, but it was just very touching because these are two kids I watched grow up, and they're married, they're ready to go out and live their life. That means a lot. It really does.
To you and to them.
Absolutely.
Well, what formation opportunities do the students experience, Father?
Well, we really believe that there's a human, there's body and soul. So there has to be human formation and spiritual formation. So of course, spiritually we do different classes in theology, Bible studies, different devotionals the students can get involved in to learn and practice their faith. But also, we've really been focusing on human formation.
Yeah, one of your titles struck me. You want to talk about that one?
Which one?
When St. Joseph is Bay?
Yeah, Bay means before anyone else. It's one of the slangs you got to learn when you work with the kids.
I thought it was like baby.
No, it's not. It's before anyone else. And so that's been part of our In Real Life series, working with girls and sort of doing these different talks about dating, about learning how to cook, learning how to throw a party, learning how to present yourself. The girls are doing a great job at that, but just sort of encouraging them along. And then with the guys too, trying to do different series to help the guys bond, maybe learn a little about human formation, how to court a woman, how to be more of a gentleman. We've done some stuff about how to choose your major, how to find a job, how to do an interview, getting the faculty.
Life formation.
It really is, because I mean, you could go through wisdom, you could go through college in 4 years and pray a rosary and be very spiritually deep, but yet you can't land a job or you can't get a date. It's not going to get you very far.
And you have Focus missionaries?
Yeah, we do. That's one of the biggest blessings. It's been 6 years now. Focused, sort of an acronym for Fellowship of Catholic University Students, and they really sort of collaborate with us. You see them as employees. They are recent college graduates from different parts of the nation who commit to going to a college campus for about 2 years to do outreach, Bible studies, and discipleship for students. There's a certain degree I can minister to the kids, but I'm more like a dad now. These are a little bit closer to their age. They get involved, whether it be like with the sports teams, fraternities and sororities, with different individual students, and help to form them by these weekly or bi-weekly meetings, and then encourage them to go form their own Bible studies and to evangelize other students on campus.
And you have a couple of new students that are Focus missionaries now, don't
We
you?
actually do. I think this year we have 4 students who are going to be Focus missionaries. So they're going to go through training this summer. 3 guys and 1 girl. One of the girls, athlete Yasmin Montoya, who just got engaged, in fact. And so Yaz won like Sunbelt Soccer Player of the Year, fantastic soccer player. So she's going to do something called Varsity Catholic, along with one of the guys named Carbet. These are Focus missionaries who specifically work with athletes and trying to evangelize them. And the other 2 guys are going to do more work with Chad and Charles, just the average student working out, ministering and reaching out in their own affinity groups.
Well, that's some great stuff. Well, how does the Catholic Student Center itself work to facilitate the sense of community?
Well, that's one of the things is we really try to make the place, Student Center, a home away from home. A lot of the times when parents send their kids off to college, they're going to be living in the dorms, they're worried. They're not living at home anymore. Are they going to have a community? Are they going to be safe? And we really try to help parents understand, and students too, that wisdom is that home away from home.
And they belong.
They belong, yeah, the sense of belonging. So we have a cafe there, campus grounds, where we serve the delicious Rev coffee from Lafayette. And so there are always students coming in, getting their coffee. They can sit down, study. Sometimes they like to play chess. A lot of times they like to goof around on Facebook or play video games and not pay attention to studying. That's how it works. They can have their free time. But a lot of just fellowship, sitting around visiting. They'll meet there at Wisdom and go out for lunch, or they'll go out to their class. But so it really is a home away from home. The students get there about 7 o'clock in the morning, and a lot of times have to kick them out at about 10 or 11 o'clock at night.
Well, we talked about one of the students, Luke Johnson.
Who you know.
Who I know. He was the winner of our pro-life oratory contest. And we talked about that earlier, that he's been accepted as a seminarian.
Yes, we've been blessed over the years at Wisdom to have a lot of young men and young women discern a vocation, the priesthood, religious, or consecrated life. And Luke is one from this year. Luke, sponsored by Our Lady, Queen of All Saints in Ville Platte. I've been knowing Luke for a long time. Wonderful young man, homeschooled, pro-life, very articulate. He had really begun discerning very early on and applied and has been accepted. We've had a couple of other students accepted so far this year too. And then I know next year we're hoping to have a number of young women in a religious life.
What are you doing to help nurture a sense of stewardship among young people?
Okay, that's a good question. You know, what are we doing to nurture stewardship amongst all Catholics? That's of course so important when we realize that what we have is a gift and that we need to give it back. And students really understand that because they really realize, at least the students that are very involved at Wisdom, how much the Lord's given to them through Wisdom, whether it be the pizza that they get to eat or the air conditioning that they have in the building or the different events and retreats that we have that we help to provide for the students. They realize what they've received and they want to give back. And so we have a number of students who tithe on a weekly basis by using electronic giving. But we instituted several years ago a class gift where the graduating class, the outgoing class, makes a pledge for 5 years once they get jobs to give back to Wisdom. And so each year we've challenged the students to beat the year before. Not
A
only
little competition doesn't hurt, does it?
That's right. So we get this to see how many can pledge and how much over the course of the years, because it goes back and it really does help the ministry to sustain the ministry, but it also gives a great example to other students and I think also to adults. So this year, our class gift, we had the largest amount of students give. I think it was well over 30 students committed over the course of 5 years, $54,500.
Now that's amazing for students to pledge that.
That really is. So they're graduating, so they're going to get their jobs, and they're going to make that commitment to giving, to electronically, most of them do it that way, and to give back to something that really meant a lot to them. And so very, very proud and very appreciative of the students and their gift.
Well, Father, how important is your annual fund?
Well, the annual fund is crucial. I mean, we often say, you know the truth of this, no money, no mission. I don't reach into the tabernacle to get money to support the ministry. We have one of the largest ministries in the nation on a secular campus, and our budget exceeds $1 million every year. And so parishioners are very generous in giving back, but it only maintains about half the budget. And so we have to reach out to alumni, to benefactors, people who are passionate about the future of the church and understand that students are to give generously. So we do different events. We have people who make large gifts and make recurring gifts. So appreciative of our benefactors. Without that, it would not happen. We would not be where we are today. And so really to help the ministry grow, it really does take the support spiritually and financially of a lot of people. So very appreciative of our benefactors.
Well, why is it important for a student who's been brought up in the Catholic school system to remain involved in ministry at the collegiate level?
Well, the statistics are this, that for Catholic students who go through high school, by the time they leave college after 4 or 5 years, something like 60 to 80%, the exact numbers I don't have off the top of my head, no longer practice their faith. And they either leave the Catholic Church or they just don't practice. They don't practice anything. They become the nuns, as they say. There's nothing they attribute themselves to or ally themselves to. And so campus ministry, getting involved in that, is the surest way to help lay the foundation for the roots to grow deep for when the students graduate, to maintain their faith and the practice of their faith. And that's why, for me at least, a good intellectual formation is very, very important. Addressing those deep issues about evolution, about the origins of Scripture, about the nature of the sacraments and miracles, things that they're gonna encounter questions and doubts about in college, but to say, hey, there's a reasonable answer to this. You know, we're not creationists here. We believe in the value and role of science. We can understand literary and textual criticism. These things are valid. Absolutely. But yet it doesn't mean you throw your faith out. And to be able to help the students to understand that. One of the great stories that I have that I tell a lot is I gave a talk on evolution in the Bible and how they kind of can work together and sort of the myths that really were important for the formation of Genesis 1, 2, and 3 as the Jews responded to these Babylonian myths. And I gave the presentation, and these two kids came up to me afterwards, these two young women, and said, Father, if we would have heard that in high school, we'd still be Catholic today. And I think a lot of the times we feel hesitant to teach them the deeper stuff. But when we do, the kids really can't handle it, and these students respond, and the faith becomes much more anchored, much more real.
Well, not only can they understand it, they want it, they desire it, they need
do,
it.
Yeah. And just to simply say, oh, just believe the Bible or do it because the church tells you to, simply doesn't work anymore.
Well, how does the community at Wisdom nurture vocations? We talked about Luke, but what do y'all do?
Well, we've been very blessed over the course of the past, let's say 5 or 6 years, to have a little bit over 40 young men and women enter the seminary or religious life. Not all of them stay, but they go and discern. And so we have the students I mean, students are being prayed for all the time. We're always praying for vocations. There's a mass every week for UL vocations. We're always bringing different religious orders in. Students are going out to go on come and see retreats. And I think the biggest thing is the students see the young people who've gone before who've entered and say, they did it, I can do it too. So, you know, this year we're going to be ordaining 4 men to the diaconate, who then next year will be ordained to the priesthood, all for Our Lady of Wisdom. And those 4 guys, who I'm so proud of, are a very, very profound witness to the other students. When they say, hey, listen, these guys, you know, one of them was the president of their fraternity, another one was very involved in leadership at Wisdom. Hey, they could do it, they're normal guys, we could do it too. And it really sort of encourages them to consider vocations.
And the old stereotypical thoughts of what you have to be like to be a priest, people realizing.
No, we want we want normal guys.
Yeah.
We want guys who will strive for holiness, but are relatable, who have their own passions, their own interests, who are human but striving to be saints.
Well, recently, y'all were going to have Father Bishop Cardinal Dolan, and that did not happen. So are there any plans for the future?
So 10 minutes before Cardinal Dolan got out of the plane, he got sick, a stomach virus, couldn't come. We had to sort of stop everything and reschedule. So the plans are now, we don't have the exact date, hopefully he will be back sometime in September of this year. So we didn't cancel the event, we're simply rescheduling it. So hopefully people will come back to the Mass, come back to the gala dinner, and maybe he'll give us something even bigger and better. We're going to make it bigger and better than we would have if we would have had it last month.
Absolutely. Well, we're getting ready to show the video in just a minute about Wisdom for Every Generation capital campaign. Where did you find that name?
From our good friend Paul George. Sorry, I'm coughing a little bit this morning.
I hear
You
that.
know, our ministry has grown so much over the course of the past several years. It's a good problem to have, that we need more space for Bible studies, for studying, for the different events that we do. And so talking to the pastoral council and leadership team, we decided, hey, we need a new student center. And we came up with a Wisdom for Every Generation campaign to raise the funds to build a new church and student center on campus. So we're still in process. We're still working on it.
Well, let's go ahead and watch the video.
Great.
Before I came to college, I really didn't ever think I could be a leader in any way.
When I came here, my faith was very much my parents' faith. You know, I would go to church when they would make me. I would go to confession when they would suggest it. And I wasn't really interested in forming my own personal relationship with God.
I had a lot of friends who weren't Catholic and who would question me. So upon entering college, I was curious about my faith.
Wisdom has really just changed my life in every way. I find myself just thinking differently, acting differently, and how to truly go about the way we live.
I think people are searching. If you look in the world today, there's a lot of crazy things going on. I think it's because ultimately we believe that they're searching for God. And so the presence of the Catholic Church on a secular campus, I think, is invaluable. To have Wisdom here on campus to answer those questions that college students are asking. You know, what's the point of my life? What am I going to do after I graduate? I think all of those are tied in together.
I would just laugh like when I would be giving tours of the campus and these kids are like, a Catholic church? Like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah. You see college students, in just everyday wear, like walking into the church, making the sign of the cross. People look at that and they're like, this world still believes in Jesus? There's this guy and people still worship him and they go to Mass? And it's like, yeah, come and see.
When I left high school, I told myself, all I want to do is go to class, go to work, and go home. That's it. And one day my mom said, hey, Olivia, I think you should go to this particular conference at the church on campus. So I said, okay, I'll try it out. And I tried it out, and I just came here ever since.
Outside of my academics here, I'm also a student athlete. I run for the track team here at UL, and I had the desire to start a Bible study with my own teammates. And there was a need for it as well, and a want. It's just a bunch of people that are all trying to balance our academics and our athletics, but on top of that, our faith as well.
I believe if people get involved here, they'll know that, we serve others in the community. We help root ourselves in prayer and foundation of ourselves before we can reach others. And people want to have conversation, people want to do something better for their life. And I know that I've seen through other people that the Catholic Center offers that.
I got into a lot of trouble my freshman year of high school, and so the only things I could do the summer after my freshman year were go to church and go places with my family. And really it wasn't until junior year of high school that I realized that real people became priests. Until then it was, the older guy at church. He was always a priest to me. And basically as soon as I stepped foot on the UL campus as a freshman, I started thinking about the priesthood. And so when I was here, it was very off and on. 1 week I thought for sure that I was supposed to be married, and there was a cute girl over there, and that was the one. And then the next week it was, maybe I should think about the priesthood. And the farther I went along in my studies, the more I started thinking about it, until finally around my junior year, I started thinking about it, and it was different because it wouldn't go away. And so from my time here as a student, it really informs my life because I'm a priest. And I don't know that I would be here today if it wasn't for the ministry here on campus.
My dad recently went to the doctor and he went in feeling awful, and they told him that he would need a heart transplant. And so I was really worried. I was really afraid to lose my father, to lose my dad. Your dad kind of becomes like a superhero in a sense. You think he's invincible, and to have him so vulnerable, so weak. Father Broussard has been a big help for me, and he really talked me through that, and not only advice to how to cope with those things, but spiritual advice as well.
I kind of was forced to come home to Lafayette and stumbled into wisdom after struggling for a couple of years with a lot of medical difficulties. It was in a time of, feeling somewhat lost and not sure of the direction that I was going in, and I truly encountered coming all kinds of home when I stepped into Our Lady of Wisdom. I felt God's presence. I think if I had never found wisdom, I would be very lost.
We decided to go to Mass one Saturday afternoon, and after Mass, I was kind of moseying around and hesitated and say, hey, can we run to the chapel real quick? And it's just dead quiet. Everyone had already left Mass, the church. It was just us two in the chapel, and we're kneeling there, and she looks at me and she's like, so do you want to say anything? And at that part, my heart was about to explode out of my chest. So I got down on one knee and I was holding the ring up, and I said, Madeline Orty, will you marry me? And tears flowing, just, yes, yes. So it was beautiful. And I had actually, while I was at confession before Mass, spoke with Father Sibley and kind of gave him a little up-to-date, letting him know what we were doing. So he was waiting for us in the front of the church and gave us a very beautiful blessing.
Our Lady of Wisdom has such a beautiful marriage preparation program, and whenever I would hear that they were having a night for married and engaged couples, I would get so excited, and I just knew that everyone talked about what a beautiful experience it was. And so we'll be starting our marriage preparation process soon, and we couldn't be more excited.
One of the sad things is that, we see people come in and the place is full, which that's not the sad part, but it's full, and so they leave.
We're already overflowing in Mass. There's almost no place to study sometimes, because it's a great thing. That's an amazing thing that's happening. And as a freshman, I got to hang out. I learned how to play ping pong, and there's usually a ping pong table is always full, or there's almost no room to have a Bible study because they're all being used.
We live in an area where 60% of the population is Catholic. So many of those students, they do come to UL, and they would like a space to be involved. And that space is wisdom. But wisdom needs space to fit that 60% and beyond.
I've been here now for 6 years as pastor and chaplain, and my time here working with and really spending time with the students has given me a much deeper appreciation of what it means to not only be a priest, but to be a father. Here, I literally live with the students who are here from 7 a.m. to often 11 p.m. Being able to eat with them, work with them, interact with them, to be able to guide them spiritually. I've seen my family grow. And so as a result, every good father knows this. You want to provide what's best for your children, what is needed for your children. And right now, we need a larger facility.
Beauty beauty of having a bigger center where we can bring people here is that this is where Jesus is. Jesus is in the tabernacle here. And I think it's important to bring the students, bring the people into this building, because in the church, in Mass, in adoration that's where the changes happen. That's where the magic happens.
Over my 6 years here, we have seen tremendous growth in the university. New dorms, new renovated quad, a big, new, beautiful student union. And so we really see that we need to keep up with the growth of the physical plan of the university, but also with the students that are here. Now, unlike even 6 years ago, there are so many more students living on campus, thousands of students who don't go home at night, but stay here on campus. And in the afternoons and the evenings are looking for things to do, looking for places to go.
People desire community. They desire to deepen their faith, deepen just the person they are. And a better facility could offer more room to grow. If we can have a bigger facility, we can foster that growth and keep on spreading the gospel, I think a church that just stays stagnant within itself is ultimately going to crumble. And so a bigger facility is not to make us look better and make us look cooler, but to offer more to people.
What I've experienced here is going to go way beyond what I learned at the university. It's going to go into my future life.
The community has been so beautiful for me. The college students on the campus of UL can really go out and bear fruit and glorify God. You see that happening at Our Lady of Wisdom.
I've become a better man of God. I've seen people come to know Christ in a real way.
It has brought so many young Catholics closer to their faith. Wisdom here is truly my spiritual home away from home.
As we look to the future, based on the growth that we had, such exponential growth, many resources are going to be needed.
Your donation, your time, your generosity could form the beautiful married couple down the street. They can form the priest that blesses your family. Your generosity will span the test of time and it will span generations. It's not only about building four walls, it's about building generations of disciples for Christ.
It will always be a very special place to me, and I will always desire for it to continue to grow. And so I ask you, I urge you to join me in helping to build wisdom for every generation.
Wow, what a wonderful video.
It really is a great video.
Well, if anyone wants to know more about it, how do they contact you?
Well, I encourage, if you want to support or know more about the ministry, you can give us a call at 337-232-8742, or check out our website, ragingcajuncatholics.org, or our capital campaign website, build.ourladyofwisdom.org. And of course, you can check us out on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram.
Well, thank you for joining us today.
It's been a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for joining us for Catholics Today. We just want you to know that this broadcast and all broadcasts offered by the Office of Radio and TV are brought to you through your contributions to the Bishop's Services Appeal. Thank you and God bless you.